I was not raised in the church. I was raised by very good, honest, hard-working people, but they didn't know the Lord, and my father didn't want to have anything to do with the Lord. So we were not allowed to go to church. But when I started dating my husband, he was raised in church, and we started going just periodically to church after we got married. But when I was pregnant with my oldest son, I had some complications during delivery, and my husband made a promise to the Lord that if he would protect me and Richard, that he would serve the Lord and serve him faithfully, and he kept that promise the rest of his life. And shortly thereafter, I received the Lord too. During the middle 80s, late 80s, we noticed that my husband was beginning to become ill. He wasn't able to understand anything anyone said, and he wasn't able to even understand the written word. And so we kept him at home as long as we possibly could. But in 1996, we finally had to put him in a nursing home for his own safety. He was walking 15 to 20 miles a day while I was at work, and I'd come home and we wouldn't know where he was or what he was doing, and he got to the point that his common sense was gone, and he would just walk in people's homes and that type of thing, and so it got to be very dangerous for him, so we had to put him in the nursing home. And about that time, Richard and Heather, I think they heard from the Lord, and they decided to intervene, and they encouraged me to move to Ponca City with them. But I was teaching home ec and art at that time, and I didn't think there was any way that I could possibly get a job in Ponca City, because the school system doesn't like to hire older people. It costs the district more money, and they like new blood. But anyway, Heather kept on, and she encouraged me, and there were a home ec position that came open, and so I called, and they asked me to come up for an interview, and I did, and they hired me, and this was just a couple weeks before school was to start. So I had to tell my superintendent that I was resigning and so forth. But I know that this was the Lord's hand, because normally they just don't hire people my age. But after I was up here for about a year, in fact it was 1998, I got a terrible phone call from my youngest son saying that they had found a spot on his brain. He had been having really bad headaches, and they found out that he had a brain tumor, and that progressed. And we lost him in 2000, and then in 2003 we lost Ray. But the Lord was with me through all of that, and I felt a real peace that is just impossible to understand or to explain in human terms. Because of being raised on a small farm and being the oldest of 5 children, I learned to work and to appreciate work, and I learned to operate machinery and so forth at a very early age. I was 6 years old when I started driving a tractor. To me, this was easier than trying to drive the team of mares that Daddy had, because the tractor would do what I wanted it to when I wanted it to do it. And so from that upbringing, though, I learned the value of good hard work, and I hope I have instilled that in my children. I think that I have. And from having to work hard and having to be pretty independent of what I was doing, I learned that you can make the best of any situation. I learned to cook at an early age, and now that talent has brought me much satisfaction through the years. As all of you know, I love to cook, so we can just learn to be our very best at whatever we're doing. I don't feel like I have any great spiritual talents, but I do love to cook, and I do like to sew, and I have tried to use those to honor the Lord.